Hello, for more some content invest. We're talking about investing, finance, and professionalism. For today's items only, the investment going to talk today will be Ethereum TKTH. First, want to say happy Saturday, everybody. Have a great morning, or great evening, or great night so far. And respect to recording time of 9:33 a.m. on the Eastern Time, Ethereum coin trading $4,029, up about 1.46% so far. On the overall stable coins, or the main coins, if you may, I wouldn't really call them stable coins specifically. For Bitcoin is currently up about 1.23%, while Ethereum's kind of comparable, up about 1.5%, while Dogecoin, Cardano, Solana, XRP, polkadot, Algorand, and Shiba Inu, beside Algorand and Dogecoin, seems like most of the coins are either just kind of hovering on a sideways fashion, or leaning more downward trends right now. With respect to Solana, is very prominently selling below the $200 mark, attempting to reach all-time high all over again, which we'll dive into technicals in a bit to revisit the momentum that we're experiencing right now. On the news front for Ethereum, as of this Saturday morning, I woke up relatively later today. I actually slept in because I, actually made myself sleep in this morning. I went to bed like at 11:30 last night. I was just watching a movie, and then and I slept until basically 9. So I literally just woke up about like 30 minutes ago. So I'm catching up on the news just as we are collectively right now. And I would say the news front, typically on Saturday morning is not that active. Journalists have a job, have a life too. And typically it gets more active as, Sunday, evening arises. But there's still some news that are interesting, but these are more like regurgitation news, or news that are related to the technical analysis, if you may, right? So the first one on Decrypt 3 hours ago talk about over $2 billion in Ethereum has now been burned by the EIP 1559. So this is talking about with respect to the London fork that happened a while back, right? And so far, approximately 600,000 and 3,452 Ethereum has been burnt, and that accumulates to approximately $2 billion of Ethereum that's been burned ever since the EIP 1559. So with that burn rate, in juxtaposition to the cultivation rate that has Ethereum's being mined, knowing the fact that we know that a lot of the mines in China has been suspended. So, and that will subsequently create some sort of an imbalance, which in logics, it translates into a higher price point for Ethereum going forward. So it's a good problem to have. It's definitely something we have to understand, but ultimately, in more of a short-term volatility perspective, is mainly going to be by the whales, right? So good to know that on a macro perspective, we have been burning more than we've been creating. So that's a good problem to have, especially if you're a long-term investor, a long-term holder. The next one's on Bitcoin. It's about 15 hours ago. Talk about why Ethereum could hit $12,000 mark before the end of this cycle. So this article is basically talk about the drag effects that the crypto market has onto Ethereum specifically, right? And some of the factors that they've identified on what can translate into this $12,000 mark in this cycle is really mainly coming from Bitcoin. I know the whole article is talking about Ethereum hitting 12,000, but they're saying that in order for Ethereum to hit, basically 12,000, Bitcoin needs to hit 200,000 or 250,000, right? Basically, if you compare the historical momentums and the technical trends, Bitcoin needs to hit 200,000 for Ethereum to hit 12,000. And, for Ethereum to hit basically more than that, Bitcoin needs to hit 350,000 for Ethereum to hit 25,000. I know they did all the math there, but again, it's speculation. It's basically using the Fibonacci sequence by, ascending upward to see what the level that would technically leap up to. But these levels are still out of space at the moment, right? We don't have any historical consolidation zone. So technically the $12,000 mark, if Ethereum was to be performing by itself, and we have seen these type of activities for quite some time now, that Bitcoin and Ethereum, the trending pattern is slowly shifting, separately, right? They no longer drag, obviously, on a macro perspective. Bitcoin, obviously, when you see a surge, you see all the coins kind of follow. So that's something that we have seen before. But sometimes, and I would say, it's becoming more and more frequent now that Ethereum is starting to trend by itself in a separate pattern in comparisons to Bitcoin, right? So that's a good problem to have. But $12,000 mark because of the drag effect of the $200,000 mark for Bitcoin. I guess we take that in and we adjust that with the logics, and ultimately in the business of risk mitigation, right? Investing is not speculations. It's not like you're betting on a horse. It's not like you are gambling. It's about risk management, right? So I guess $12,000 by the time we hit 200K for Bitcoin can be logical, but I don't know if that's really the truth, right? That's ultimately, no one can really predict the future, accurately with the precise timing. But based on what they say, there is some logic to it, and I guess we read it and we take that with a grain of salt, right? And then the next one is talking about with respect to Ethereum, with the current resistance levels, right? And this is another technical analysis article on Bazinga. So let's just go straight into the technical analysis real quick. Seems like the news is relatively light this morning. So right now we are basically struggling above the $4,000 mark, which makes sense, right? We are at a monumental level, the 4,000, right? And as of yesterday, you saw that we broke below to the 3,800, and the reason we got there and retested is because that's the level of the next substantiveness, right? You could call this like substantiveness, but I call this like, it's okay. It's not like the most ideal, but we have had the consolidation zone that would form, like basically during mid-October, and then also like during early September, and we had a bunch of times that we were tested here before we crashed out all the way in basically, mid-May, when we were surging to all-time high previously. So right now, and remember, we skipped a couple of market cycles, right? We just like went straight at it. We crashed out, and then next thing you know, we hit like depression and anger stage, and you hit euphoria again. But right now, this is quite interesting because this is not the most prominent in terms of the chart if you compare that with the market cycle sheet. But again, that's more applicable for the stock market. But it seems like we are skipping a lot of steps in crypto market right now. So right now, ultimately, when the business of risk mitigation again, right? We are curving down right now, and we're still overbought the 66 out of 70, right? So ideally coming back down to the 38, ideally coming back down to the 3470, and ideally coming back to 3,150, which is the level I will be eyeing at to buy, would be logical as we deplete back down to below 35 for the RSI, and as we deplete back, to form that death cross for the MACD, and then as we recuperate back down the bottom, and then we form a golden cross, and then technically we should keep leaping and sustain that rally going forward, right? Well, what we're trying to do is basically come back down, allow the monetary circulations to basically recuperate, and as we do so, as the sector rotation comes back into the crypto, then we'll have that next rally coming. So that's the logical play going forward. Bitcoin, you could see that we're still selling down. We form a death cross, so this is not a good sign. We're 61,316. Very negative right now. This is a very bearish chart. It does not look good. We sold down basically $6,000 ever since the peak of 67,000. Right now we're still trading at 63 out of 70, so ideally coming back down way below to the 52,500, ideally coming back down to 48, ideally coming back down to 43, which is the first level that I've identified. 37 would be much better as we deplete it. I think maybe 43 would technically be the opportunity for you to buy as a first opportunity. Do we see like 34 or 30? I think that would be a stretch now, because if you do that, you'll basically drill oil in the ground again. Dogecoin is still hovering on a sideways fashion. We're still at the 54, so ideally buy at the 22, and the 20 would be much better. Cardano, we are still, again, right, oscillating on a sideways fashion. I think we should see some surge coming because of the downward wedge pattern that seems like we're forming right now. We're still at this 46 out of 70, so I think Cardano is not a bad opportunity at the moment. Maybe wait until 205 or 187. I think that will be unlikely because we are forming relatively strong platform at the moment. Solana is selling off right now. We are again we try to get to the all-time high, but just couldn't. Oh wait, hold on. Let's see. Did we get all-time high? No, we did not get to all-time high. We basically matched the same thing. People have been just like placing the sell order exactly at the peak, and immediately sold back down. I thought we'd go above like the 2000, like the 216, but we never got there. And immediately sold back down, and you could see that we are relatively dragged up right now because of the golden cross, right? Obviously, when you see that, that's the next momentum, right? We're still at the overbought 72 out of 70, so ideally buy at the I will wait until the 136, 113. I know even 93, just to bet that it doesn't go below or go below 100 just for a hair. 66 would be a stretch, to be honest. XRP right now, I think ideally because of the fact that we just formed a def cross, I think ideally going back to the 105, 101, 93, 88 would be much better with the 50 out of 70 right now. So not a bad level. Polkadot, we are forming a def cross right now. Well, not def cross. We're forming a well back right now. We're slowly curving down. We're at the 63 out of 70 right now at the moment. So ideally, wait until the 30. But for me, 25 is a much better level. Algorand right now is surging because of this golden cross we formed with the 60 out of 70. So ideally, wait until coming back down to back to earth, like 160. 150 would be a better logical level. Shiba Inu right now is not a good sign. This looks like upward wedge in a way. An upward wedge is very negative, number one, and secondly, we have formed a def cross, and thirdly, we are at the 62 out of 70. So this is a triple negative whammy that we're seeing right now. Shiba Inu is gonna sell back down to the basically at the 800, so not a good level to buy or to incur risk at the moment. So with respect to the risk management level, these are the levels I've identified here for you guys, and again, these are the R side depletion to the below 35, and when we are forming go deplete to the initializations of the golden cross formation. And hopefully this is helpful. Again, these are not for everybody. These are just for my risk aversion. Obviously, if you want to buy it now and hold until Ethereum hits $12,000 later, or Bitcoin hit 200,000, definitely hold long term, or maybe if you want to buy now, just buy now, right? Why wait, right? But yeah, hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully you guys all have a good Saturday as well, a good weekend as well. And feel free to give me a shout if you have any specific questions, and stay tuned for us to come up. Take care. Bye.